Alright, so I just noticed that my mic was muted for the whole time, but it's unfortunate. But hello and welcome again to round number 8. Round number 2 in PSGL F8. Sorry for the little mistake, but now we'll just go on as T1000 put in the fastest lap so far with a 1:27.7 here around France, one of the nicest circuits that always delivers some action on the F1 game, not so much in real life, even though the race this year in real life was pretty nice this year. On the F1 game, the races always seem to be interesting, as you could have seen in PSGL, PC, F1. Of course, that race was amazing last Thursday. Also, some of these sessions today have been pretty nice, but NS Xpere gets disqualified from the session, driving the wrong way. Not quite sure where that happened, but he appeared to be in turn number 12, around turn number 11 and turn 12. Not sure what happened, I didn't see anything, but he is out of the session. And that's definitely not the greatest thing for him. As quite a lot of people have not set a valid lap time yet, as we can follow along Keto here. Witchet is also on a lap, he invalidated. Kart Racer, he invalidated. Last week's race winner has not set a lap time yet. but of course he's still got 10 minutes left to set a lap in this race. Of course, that's still some time away. As he pulls into the pits. Keto, the only guy currently on a valid lap. I think Ayub Khan, he is also on an invalidated lap, so he's the only guy on the track right now. So we can just follow him along here. Coming into sector 3, coming through turn 10 right now into the long right-hander. Braking down into 5th gear. Not braking, not going onto the throttle. Going through turn number 12. As Ayub Khan pulls right. Or pulls left, I should say. Coming through the final corner, and his lap time will be in what region? Didn't score a point in race number 1. Coming over the line, puts in P9 right in front of his teammate. But of course he set his first lap time on the medium, so he has not done anything. Try spinning my car with low fuel. 2-foot driving back was alright, yeah. The game, of course, Cody's. Nice job for that. I mean, can't really say much more than that. Then Cody's are just a joke for some things, because, I mean, imagine if you would get disqualified for trying to spin your car around in real life. That would be hilarious if that would happen, but back to the action on track. Phew, he is on a lap on the mediums, like a lot of other guys were on in the session. Coming over the line now, it will be P10 for him on the mediums. Currently the second highest of the medium guys. Alex DeMarte is in P6, but I don't think he has set a lap time on the mediums. I think he set his first time on the softs. He didn't. I'm not quite sure why he did go out on the mediums again. Maybe wants the alternate strategy here to start things off with. Many more guys on laps now. Both Williams, PSRS. Actually, no. PSRS, of course, is in the Alpine. He scored a point last week, trying to get more this week. But Alpilotor in his debut this week wants to put a first valid lap time in. Coming into the chicane now. Sliding the car over the curb. Really throws everything into the corner to get the best possible corner there. Yellow flags on the track because of cars getting out of the way, of course. Not trying to stand in the way of anyone else. I think that's the AlphaTauri of Blue, of course. He set a lap time and he's now trying to get back into the pits. And you can see on the track, it's really full at the moment. You can see, apart from two guys, apart from Swartman and Leonard, everyone else currently is out on track. It looks like Leonard is also leaving the pits right now. So it's only Keto. And everyone else is pretty much in the same part of the track as well. So that's really going to be close for people to start their laps here. As Alpilotor puts himself into P5 in the second Williams. His teammate right behind him. But now we've got a lot of guys coming towards the line. Nick Kenshin is improving by a 10th about. Improves by a 10th, but that's not enough to gain any positions. We have Mats going up into P7. The Ecos driver. As GS Smalley P2 last week, and he's looking to get the first place in the Drivers' Championship today, of course. He's only a reserve, but he's been showing out that he can be the best driver, or the quickest driver in this tier. Of course, his teammate, the actual Aston Martin driver, Ayub Khan, puts himself up into P3 with a 27.9. That's the third one we've seen so far in F8. Approaching the line, I think that might be Pizarro's on the medium tires. What is his lap time going to be? He goes up to 29.1. That's currently in P14. Second slowest car in the grid. Game Freaker in the Alfa Romeo, the only guy behind that, but he also invalidated, so no improvement now. Witchshot invalidated, Leonard invalidated, but he's on his out lap. Kart Racer, last week's winner, he's on a valid lap, so we'll just go along and follow him now, going through the final few corners as TTG Slash with a 27.5. There we go. Another improvement and another provisional pole position for him. But now Kart Racer coming through the final corner, and he will go up to P number 3 with a 27.6 as well. A 10th ahead of Zach, but about half a 10th behind Smalley. Of course, last week we had Kart Racer finishing in first, J.S. Smalley in second, and Ice-T in third. Currently, Kart Racer in third, Smalley in second, and Ice-T in eighth. So you can see Kart Racer and Smalley have definitely taken their levels also with them to France. But Ice-T not too far away, definitely has a lap in him. It's not about there as he comes over the line. Looks like he invalidated, wasn't even up on his time anyways. So he did not improve, did not gain at all. So most of these guys now going back to the pits, as you can see. Not a lot of guys out on track right now. Also not a lot of guys out on Velo laps. Witcher is on one, but he's still halfway down the line to go to the line. IST of course just finished a lap. IU invalidated Kart Racer just set a lap, and Slash also coming back to the pits. So we'll jump on board with Witcher. Not sure if he can make another lap unless he pulls into the pits now, but I wouldn't take a guess here that he will finish the lap. Yeah, he is not anywhere close to setting a good lap here. Of course, his ERS is down to 20%. So not much that he can do, but he will go back to the pits now, and then we'll basically have the entire grid trying to set one final lap at the same time. Except for J.S. Smalley, who of course wisely took himself out of that entire scrambling for the best position at the end. He just goes out and says, I'll go first, everyone else can follow. But I don't want to be part of any of that. But the only problem for him can be if he runs into the back of the other cars, he might lose some time, because a lot of guys might come out of the pits just when he will come past. And of course they will try their best to get out of the way, but if you get them on the wrong spot, it will not work for you, and you will just lose time. You will be in the dirty air, and you will have to take different lines sometimes to just avoid them. So we'll have to wait and see. It's 3 minutes left in the session. We've seen a few guys now leaving the pits, but it's still the majority of the drivers in the pits. And then we'll find out if there will be anyone ahead of him. You can see one Alfa Romeo leaving, but that shouldn't be an issue for him. But he will be the first guy to start a lap here in F8 around the circuit polar car. Coming for the final corner. As we now see a lot of guys coming out of the pits, but I think he will be coming out right ahead of them. There will be 3 guys coming out ahead of him. That might not be what he wanted. There is T1000 Zach, currently in P4, coming out right behind it. Now he's got 3 cars right ahead of him. There's also going to be another few cars that are going to be stuck behind some other guys that are now coming through the final few corners on this track. As J.S. Smalley now fully sends it, going through turn 4 and 5 over the line, and is improving by 10th. That would currently put him up into provisional pole. But of course everyone else still has the opportunity to improve as well, as he will be the first guy to set a lap here. But if he can keep it clean, it looks like he will definitely improve here. He's now just running into the back of Witchard, who of course is still on his out lap, and he has to get up the way for him. Witchard might not know as he's pulling over. Smalley trying to get the smallest amount of a slipstream there to gain even more time, but not sure if that helped at all. Now coming through turn number 11, running wide, staying in 5th gear, as he's now approaching his teammate of Ayubkan. Maybe he will get a little bit of a slipstream here now. He will not. Ayubkan going to the left, and now he's coming through the final 2 corners. Where will he end up here? Final corner taken nicely. A little bit of oversteer coming over the line. Will that be enough for first place? It will be with a 27.4, but it's only half a 10th to Slash in P2, and of course he still will be finishing his lap. Where's everyone else that is on the lap right now? Game Freak is still in Sector 1. Robin in P14 only. He's trying to get into the top 10 and maybe even higher up than that. Maybe top 5 or anything, but he's now coming through turn number 12. Is there anyone else on a hot lap right now? I think most of these guys are just starting their laps, as McLaren and Ferrari both started the laps. El Piloto will not start another lap as he stayed in the pits. Ala Robin though in the Mercedes in P14 right now. It will be P number 6. As I said, he's looking to jump up there, and he did. Another 27. That's the 6th one that we've seen in the session so far. It's Kenshin improving by 2 tenths, and he's the 7th one up into P3. What a lap by Nick Kenshin in the Ferrari as he improves. There's also Ecos Mutz, I think, coming to the line. He does not improve at all. Or he might have improved, but he did not gain any positions by doing that. We've got his teammate Game Freak in P16. Slowest lap time right now, improving by 8 tenths. But that would only put him into P13. Did he have a way better last sector? P8, 28.0. That was a great lap by the Alfa Romeo driver. Now coming to the line is Ayub Khan, the second Aston Martin, the main driver for them, coming over the line. Will it be enough to get into the top 4? The top 2 rows, he only improves by a place. Ahead of Ella Robin, behind him we've had an AlphaTauri who did not improve by much, which I did P8. And T1000 Zach, last week's P5 finisher, up into P1. TTG Slash didn't improve, so he will not take pole position here. Now we've got Kart Racer, last week's winner, coming to the line. He improved by 0.02 of a second. Did not gain anything. We've got another Ferrari coming up to the line. IST did not improve. The McLaren of Leonard didn't set a lap time. He only goes up to 12. Then the Red Bull of Big Boy Jawan not improving. And I think, unless Peugeot jumps up to the top, no, he's only in P15. That should be the qualifying session done. Kenshin in P4. Only guy out on track anymore. But he starts in P4. Did not score points, so that's definitely an improvement for him. But T1000 Zach pulls it out of the back on the final lap of qualifying, and he gets pole position for the Alpine team. Currently sitting in 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship. So, what an amazing lap by Zach in the Alpine, of course. But we cannot forget GS Smalley last week in P2. Again in qualifying today, qualifying in P2. And for him only being a reserve, that's definitely a great showing for him. And yeah, Slash in P3, last week's pole sitter in F8. But this time we'll have to see if the race can go better for him, because of course he had that, I think it was a spin in lap 1 or an incident. And the race did not go any better later on as he retired at some point. But today he's looking to do better than that, because we know that he can be the guy on the podium, but he just has to keep it together during the race. But he's got all the chances to do that today here in France. Now running through the grid, we've got the Frenchman T1000 Zach for Alpine in P1 around the track in France, so that's a great thing for him. Then we've got GS Smalley for Aston Martin in P2, Slash in P3, Kenshin in P4, Kart Racer in P5, Ice in P6, Ayub Khan in P7, Ella Robin in P8, Witchard in P9, and Game Freak in P10. El Pilotor, Leonard, Big Boy Jawan, Mats Pugh, Alex Limorte, Keto, Pisars, and Barry, all outside of the top 10, and Barry of course disqualified. Unluckily for him, because his pace looked pretty good, but then of course it just got taken away from him by this great game by Cody's, and yeah, it's really unlucky, but you can only try to keep his head up here in the race and try to make a comeback from last place to hopefully a good place for him. Oh, and of course the NSX guys, Barry and Namath, didn't have a good race at all last week. Were involved in some incidents. They had an incident together in turn number 3 on lap 1, so they just got pushed down the order today Namath is not here, but Barry will try to get at least some points for the Red Bull team. Yes, of course, in real life the Red Bull team did get the win here this year. Max Verstappen, of course, taking the win in lap 51 from Lewis Hamilton around the outside. In turn number 8, and of course turn number 8, also speaking of that, for the race, it's going to be the best overtaking opportunity here in the race, of course, as you'll have the entire first DRS zone coming up there to try and get a slipstream and then go past, either on the inside or on the outside. But it can work, but it also can end up like Lucas Blakely did in PSGL PCF1 on Thursday, going for the move on Jano Oppenmer, and then he just spun it on the inside curb. But now we're in the formation lap. We'll quickly check the tire choices for all of the guys out on track. And pretty interesting choices outside of the top 10. Most of the guys wisely choosing the mediums. Leonard and PSR is going for the outs, which also definitely is not a bad thing to do. But Big Boy Jawan, he won't need to have a great start, as he is going to start on the soft tires, so not sure what he's hoping for, maybe a safety car. But still, to make the strategy work, he definitely has to overtake some guys here, and that will not be easy around this track, of course. If everyone's in a DRS train in front of you, no matter how good your tires are, most of the times you will have trouble getting past. It's not the only track where it's like this. You basically have that around 90% of the F1 tracks on the F1 game, sadly, which is not a great thing, but we'll have to live with that, as the guys are now coming down towards the grid. Turn 1 running off the track here. And top 10 already coming to the grid. Sitting in, and last week we did see Slash also had an awful start. Of course, he dropped back a few positions after qualifying already, and then of course he had to spin in lap 1, but he dropped back about 3 places. Also his teammate Leonard, and his teammate Leonard only in P12 today, so he will have to carry the load at the front today. But now we've got everyone on the grid, and we will have the race starting now. We do have the lights coming on. It's 5 lights. Round number 2 is underway, and it looks like Zach had a pretty good start. The Aston Martin had a pretty good start. One of the Ferraris had an awful start, and the Alfa Romeo of Game Freak already dropped back a few places. Mutt's already down to P15, and it looks like Zach had a pretty good start. He stayed in P1. Both Ferraris battling each other side by side. But IST gets ahead of his teammate, who dropped down 2 places. Kart Racer benefiting of that, going up into P4. We've also got Jawan getting 2 places here, and Game Freak also struggling. The Alfa Romeo is both struggling going off the line. Leonard also dropped 2 places, now trying to go around the outside of Mutz, but he's not quite able to do that. At the front though, we do have Zach, who stayed in P1. Smalley trying to make a little move on him here, but he does not try it already, but he's right in the back of him, trying to make any moves here, and it is Ayub Khan who spun around in turn number 8. Down to P15 he goes. Had a pretty decent qualifying, but now he is back at the back of the field. Not the greatest start for him here, as Slash is sitting right in the rear of GS Smalley in P2, and Slash nearly losing the rear of the car, really pushing the car to its limits. Locking up a little bit here, going through turn number 13. Ayub Khan getting past Leonard again. Of course he has to try and get back all those places that he lost now. And now we see, of course, all the fastest laps coming in. As Barry already pits, I think he might have gotten some damage on lap 1. That's the only possible thing that could have happened to him, why He is pitting now and he has to change his wing. And you can only feel bad for Barry. First, the game just messes his qualifying up with disqualifying him. And in the race, it doesn't go any better. He gets damaged, starting in last place. And he's just gonna stay down the order in P19. Being 30 seconds or more behind everyone else on the field. We can see where he is now. 34 seconds behind the entire field. As we have everyone, you can see everyone from P1 to P16 is in a DRS train once it gets activated in the next lap. Once they cross the finish line, DRS will be activated. And then this is going to be an absolute mess, as of course everyone is in the DRS zone, and Slash has completely outbroke himself here and dropped down 2 places again. Kart Race up to P3 and Ice-T to P4. Slash runs into the back of Ice-T as well, and Slash, not sure what is happening with him. Kenshin getting spun around by the AlphaTauri of Witchard, who also dropped back 2 places to Game Freak and Robin. Big Boy Jawan now right behind Witchard, of course, dropped back those 2 places. We have Game Freak trying to attack Robin maybe. No, he does not. He keeps it back, and this took off the first little hole that we have here behind Slash. As PSGL is also pitting, might have picked up some damage, might have been involved in an incident with Barry at the back. But of course we didn't see it, so we can't only take guesses at what happened there. But now, first time with the DRS activated, this is going to be a lot of fun. Of course, the one guy that has to use quite some ERS, I could imagine, is going to be Zach, who of course is ahead right now, and he will not have any type of mode that will save him unless he uses his ERS, and if he just loses his ERS, he will also just get eaten up at some point. As you can see, J.S. Smalley is just getting closer and closer, following him through turn number 11 and 12. This is where Slash made the mistake last lap I should say. Locked up, ran wide. That opened the door for the Ferrari and the Haas driver. And of course that was massive for Kart Racer, who of course wants to stick with the top 2 guys. And he needs to. He is in a fight for the championship lead, and he is now right behind the guy in P2 right now, J.S. Smalley, getting closer to Zach, but he stays back, doesn't want to attack him here because overtaking in turn 1 is not really the move around the track. But that left him back a little bit to Zach, and Kart Racer can potentially take the opportunity here to get past the Aston Martin driver, of course. For Aston Martin, J.S. Smalley can score points, but it will not really matter because, of course, reserve points do not count towards the teams. As now Kart Racer is maybe trying to have a look down the inside, but J.S. Smalley defends it right ahead of him. Game Freak now getting past Ella Robin in P6 as Witchard gets overtaken by Big Boy Jawan. But he tries to come back on the outside, now turning on the inside, and he just moves across Jawan. They nearly touch. And Game Freak and Robin going side by side. That's also what Jawan is trying to do on Witchard. But he stays behind for the moment. Also Game Freak and Robin still incredibly close, and the racing has been great so far. As you can tell, that's what I meant with France being a good track for racing. But Robin losing a little bit of time to the guys ahead as Game Freak are trying to take the advantage here on Robin. And he will do that because of the little lockup that Robin had going into the final corner. Looks like no one else is able to try and move here down into turn 1. Game Freak going up into P6, of course. He did get a point last week, and he will try to get even more, which he is in a position to do so right now in P6, ahead of the Mercedes and the AlphaTauri. Now we have Slash right at the back of Ice-T, but you can tell Ice-T got a great setup for the straights, and Zach now getting overtaken by Smalley. Of course, it's hard to defend here. Robin getting past Game Freak as well, but it's hard to defend here when you do not have the DRS. And Zach takes the advantage here, going up into Zach loses out on that place, and Smalley takes the advantage. That's what's the right thing to say here. And Kart Racer just following in behind, trying to save Earth to maybe have a attack later on as Jawan gets past Witchshot into turn 12. Great move by the Red Bull driver up ahead of Pilotor, up ahead of Witchshot, and maybe Pilotor can make a move on Witchshot as well, but he stays behind for now. And Slash this time he's close enough, running into the back of him, of Ice-T. But around the outside into turn 1, will he try to move? No, he stays behind wisely, making Ice-T run a bad line, and now he's got what an exit by the McLaren driver trying to go down the inside of Ice-T, but he has to pull behind him again. You can tell Ice-T, low wings potentially, it's just making him fly on the straight. But out on the exits, Slash got an incredible advantage on him, but the straights are just there for the Ferrari. Feels like it's the illegal engine that they used back the previous years ago. That's how quick he is on the straights. Game Freaker now got a penalty, but Robin gets re-overtaken by the Alfa Romeo driver. But Robin trying to come back here. Game Freaker ran a little bit too wide, and now Robin putting him side by side again up into turn number 10, and it looks like Robin might come out ahead of here. He does. Game Freaker not trying to do anything, and Zach drops back to P3. I wonder whether that might be because of Earth. He's on 50%, so not too low. That's the same amount of Smalley. But Kart Racer had to make the move here, of course. There is the pace that he has. There's a yellow flag as Kito Swartman dropped back a few places. Leonard struggling on the traction here. Witchshot now getting overtaken, but he goes into the pits. Pitting in lap number 7. Leonard also pitting, and he retired from the session. I wonder what happened to him. He crashed in the pit lane. Not sure if he retired or if he just crashed. It doesn't look like he crashed the pit lane. Trying to find out what happened to him. PCR is of course pitted. Yeah, he just retired, alright. Nearly thought that he did crash out, but he did not. He just retired, the car coming into the pit lane. Of course, what a shame. I think he got hit. I think he got tangled up with Kito there, coming through turn number 12. But what a shame for the McLaren driver who looked up to have a great performance last week. It didn't happen. Today it didn't happen, and now trying to make a move here. Jawan first trying it on Game Freaker, who then tries to make a move on Robin, but both of them pulling out of the move because they just did not see why they should do it, and Jawan loses the car. Just gets to stop, loses 3 places because of that. Is Pew and Matza just fighting, nearly driving into the back of each other there. And El Pilotor also getting past Game Freaker here. And El Pilotor showing off a strong showing in his first race in F8 after he missed the first round. Robin ahead of that. He of course is in a bad position here. 50%. As Slash now dives into the pits. He will try to do the undercut on the other 5 guys, and Ella Robin picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He's not the first guy to do so, and I think that is Barry. Yeah, Barry did spin coming out of turn 9, and you can tell Barry just does not have any luck today. And I can understand him being frustrated there, also just losing the car once. It's incredibly frustrating for a guy like him who has the pace to compete, but then just gets messed up by the game. Where, I mean, first time just trying to spin the car around with low fuel, then getting disqualified for that. It's just a ridiculous thing. But you can't do much about it. Then, of course, you had the incident on lap 1. It's really unlucky as Zach already dropped the second to Kart Racer and Smalley. Also low on, no, that's IST, but also low on ERS, 30% left. And looking at the DRS situation, Kart Racer might be the guy to look out for here to win this race in the end. And there's a yellow flag, it's Mud spinning around, he was fighting with Pew for that 6th place. And he goes off the track in turn number 10. Might have been an incident between him and the AlphaTauri driver. Because he spun at a place that you normally don't see people spinning too often. It might have been an incident between them as both Ferraris now drive into the pits in the same lap. But it could have also just been a mistake by him touching the inside curb or running too wide and just losing the rear, but we can only speculate on what happened. We'll have to find out if there are any reports or anything like that after the race or anyone being mad. So if anything like that happens, I'll of course update you next week in round number 3 as Ice-T comes out ahead of behind Slash by a second. As I said that, Slash running wide, Slash makes another mistake. He tried to get up into P2 and 1 by just trying to do the undercut, and then he comes right out ahead of Ice-T after he pitted, and he just loses the car coming out of turn 2 and nearly spins it away, just keeps it on the track in the end, but he loses the place back. And that is just incredibly unfortunate for him. Kart Racer now goes up into P1, that might actually give Smalley the chance to do the undercut here, but also Kart Racer might try to do the same here, getting past him and then pitting. We'll have to see who was diving into the pits, and Smalley, he is trying to do the overcut strategy, which I'm not quite sure if it will work in the end, because overcutting on this game, you rarely see it working. You barely see anyone having luck doing that, but maybe he can do that. You can see everyone putting on the mediums. Zach also on the mediums pitted in the same lap. Ice-T and Slash nearly making the strategy work. And the one guy who got unlucky, Zach, down to P4 provisionally, or P5 after Smalley has pitted probably. Alex Limard also coming into the pits now in lap number 10, where most guys have pitted now. Game Free Cook gets a penalty down in P12. He has been having a pretty nice race so far, I should say. As it looks like Alex Limorter was involved in some incident in the pits, had to get his front wing repaired, or a new one put on. As you can see, a few gaps now building up on the track. Witchard picks up a penalty. I think that might be his second even. It's his first, but we do have another few guys with penalties on the track. P. Soares right now 3 seconds. Yeah, we have Game Freaker with 6 seconds. Witcher with 3. Robin with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Ice-T in P3 with 3 seconds. Mats and Javon also with 3 seconds. But now Smalley in the pits has now changed tires. Mats staying out. Javon also coming in now. Made it strategy work on the softs, I would say. But now, where is Smalley coming out? Everyone approaching. And that will just be enough. Nearly runs into the side of Slash as he comes out of the pit lane and he spins it away. Turn 2. And Smalley misjudged the corner. And he spins it away and he drops down to P10 just after pitting. That definitely did not work for the car, and Jawan also spins around. Also did not get damaged, but he also spun around in turn 1 and 2. One corner catching 2 guys in a few seconds. And now everything looks like Kart Racer 22. The Haas driver looks to do what he did last week again, to win the F8 race here. But it's still 16 laps to go. Anything can happen, of course. Ayuka now gets the penalty, of course. He is down in P12 right now. Some guys still haven't pitted, so he will be in the points once everyone will come back out, probably. And some of these guys might be hoping for it to stay like this, or for a safety car to come out at some point further down the line, to just have the chance to have another opportunity at getting some places. As Kart Racer sets the fastest lap, he's trying to break the DRS to TVH IST. Once he can do that, he's pretty much in the safe zone here. But IST is definitely not giving up. He's staying there, staying around Kart Racer, not giving up in any way. But the rest of them also trying to make a move here. Zach on the straight gets past Slash. Smalley gets past Witchshot again after his spin, and he actually does make it happen. The Aston Martin makes the move in turn 8. Jawan also makes the move up on Suarez, of course. They got together as Jawan picks up another 3-second time penalty. They did get together last time around. Now he caused Mats on the mediums, of course. He had some unlucky things happening to him. So now we'll have to find out where he's coming around. He's going onto the softs, trying to make them work for 14 laps. Might actually work out. Not sure though. As he comes out right next to Jawan, trying to get him back right as he enters the pits, or leaves the pits. And at the front, IST of course picked up a penalty now, and Kart Racer basically, unless he makes a mistake later on, he is pretty much certain to win this race. Of course, I don't really want to put the commentator's curse on him, but just had to say it here. Further down the line, we have a little bit of a battle going on here for P13, or for P14 I should say, because I mean, Nikos Mats is just going to pull away on those soft sets. The grip level is just going to be incredible on those tires, so I can't really expect too much there. Yeah, you can tell he is already pulling away. DRS is going to keep them there a little bit, 40%, 20%. Mats is not on much more than that, but you can tell it's just not that right now. Now Slash and Zach have been staying close to each other for quite a few laps now, trying to find a way up into the podium place, which it would be once Blue and El Pilotor have pitted. The Spanish guy is fighting up for P1 and 2 right now, but still yet to pit, and they will come in next 1 or 2 laps, I should say. Can't really stay out for much longer here around this track. Both of them staying out for at least another lap. but that will change soon, and then we will have the grid, that which most likely is going to be the one that we will see at the end as Big Boy Juwan spins out. And there's a safety car, as I was talking about it a few laps ago. It basically had to happen at some point that we'll see a safety car here to make this race a little bit more interesting than it was a few laps ago. And because Matsukris, he pitted for the softs. If he stayed out a few laps longer, this could have been an incredible comeback drive for him here after spinning around. But now he pitted a few laps too early to make this strategy work like he wanted it to, and he pits for the mediums. Might not have wanted the softs here, going 12 laps. I think I've seen a lot of guys try to do that here, to beat him to soft strategy, but most of these guys do not trust the softs to go on for about 11 or maybe 9 laps, I should say, that they will go on at the end. Barry is the one to try out the softs here, and I could imagine more guys out of the top 8 or even more than that to try out the softs here. But time will tell what tires they will go for. Time can only tell. El Piloto, the first guy, I don't think they have to, they will not go for the hards, and they will go for the softs, so they will both be at the top. They will have the best tires available. If someone of them goes onto the hards, I really don't know what to say. And I mean, El Piloto does what he is supposed to do, going onto the soft tires. Everyone should be going onto the soft tires as Kart Racer. He makes the decision to stay out on his old medium tires. Zach does the same. Slash on the hards, also staying out. Interesting choices here. Smalley trying to do the same thing on the mediums as he's staying out. The mediums are not too bad. I mean, 5 laps, 6 laps are not bad, but the softs are just incredible. If you look at the time differences that they have, I mean, in qualifying you could already see it, that there's a lot of time between them. But I mean, we'll have to find out what's going to happen here in the final 10 laps that are going to be happening now after the safety car restart, where the race it's going to be incredibly close. I mean, you could tell before all the pit stops happened, the field was so close together and they stayed there. And I mean, France is a track, the air restraints cannot be broken basically, and if you stay there, you're just gonna be in there for quite a long time. And now we have 10 laps all on the best tires available. 3 guys only going for the softs. Maybe Alex Immortal will do that as well. But surprisingly, only 3 guys on the softs. I mean, driving behind the safety car for 2 laps and then having 9 laps on the softs, I think that could have easily been possible. Not sure. Maybe some guys did not have a fresh soft tire to change for. But only Alpilotor, Pshu in P5 and 6 were leading the race, and they had to do this strategy. I mean, they did not have any other choice. I mean, going for the hards is just pointless now, which I really don't understand why TTG Slash did stay out here in the end. Because I do not get why you want to stay on the slowest tires available. He has got the oldest tires on the grid. He does have the worst tires on the grid. So I'm not sure why he tried to stay out here. And now we only need Barry and Alex Immortal to catch up to the grid. And I think once they caught up, that should be that. I think this lap should be the lap where we'll easily This right here is also not going to be fun for all of the guys that have penalties. So IST, Witchard, Game Freaker, Ayukan, Ecos Mats, Nick Kenshin, P. Suarez. They will not have any fun if the grid stays like that and if they stay as close as they are right now, because they will just drop down the order and maybe find themselves in the last few places only because they picked up penalties. But of course the race is still 10 laps long and 9 laps of action. 9 laps of full action at the Circuit Paul Ricard. 9 times 5.8 kilometers, 9 times 15 turns. As Kart Racer now does have everything under his own control to see when he will go. Now coming through the final corner, trying to have the best restart as he is going. And the track goes back to green. The race is back underway again. And Slash trying to warm up his tires, but I mean, the hards will take longer than all the other tires to warm up, and the soft guys, they will have the advantage of that now. As Smalley trying to make him move already on Slash, but he'll have to wait for another few laps for the DRS to get activated again after the safety car restart, and we'll have it back in lap 21. No incidents whatsoever happening here on the restart, and Kart Racer 22. What an incredible restart that he had, and I mean you could see it from where he took off on the line, going for the final corner. He hit it perfectly. That might have been one of the best restarts I've ever seen in my entire life. Zach did not really keep up with the entire thing. Barry gets the second penalty as El Piloto also gets the penalty. That will not help the guy in the Williams driving on the softs after he switched. So Smalley and Slash trying to stay with Zach in the Alpine to try and get a podium here. Slash currently in a position, Zach in a position. Kart Racer looking for the second win in a row, but Smalley will try to get a podium at least here too. I mean, he looked to be in the position to win here for quite some time, and then Kart Racer overtook him. And he dropped back a few places after trying the overcut on Kart Racer, which I still don't understand why he tried that, because overcutting just doesn't work. You should have pulled into the pits with him. But that's just, he cannot change that anymore. And he will try to make that up on the track, try and get in P2. El Pilotor now also closed in on Gia Smalley, trying to get that. And Gia Smalley now on the straight, also with the traction of the mediums, trying to make the move down the inside, tries to send it, and he nearly spins around, just keeps it on the track somehow, touching. I think there was a slight touch that here with Slash, but not quite sure. There was, if it was so small that it didn't have too much of an impact, but he caught the inside curve, but caught the car in the end after spinning it, and still within 2 tenths of TTG Slash in the McLaren. Of course, he could have been up there for the win last week, but then he just lost it starting, dropping back 3 places in the first lap, spinning around as well, and then dropping back even more places and retiring. As GS Smalley nearly runs into the back of him, and TTG Slash is close to losing the DRS as it gets activated again. And one guy that can benefit from Smalley and Slash fighting for that third place, El Pilotor in the Williams, and another guy, F1R Mew in P6. Both guys on the softs, but they have to capitalize on the soft ice now, because at some point they will just give in. They will not be as quick as they were before, and then they will not be able to overtake the guys ahead, and they might even have to look up behind. I mean, El Pilotor has got the penalties, so even if Pew gets overtaken, he would gain all those places back, unless he makes a mistake and spins out. As Smalley now finally on the straight, In lap number 20, he gets past TTG Slash up into P number 3. And now the McLaren driver will have to look out for himself to make sure that he gets that podium position that he did not get last week. Which definitely frustrated him, and El Piloto going down the inside here. Into turn 12, into turn 10, I should say, not turn 12, that is coming up here. And El Piloto is trying to make that charge for the podium position, but he needs to gain 3 seconds on whoever he is going to pass. And GS Wally also gets the 3-second time penalty, so they both need to gain time now on the guys behind. And for Slash and Blue, that is the perfect thing to happen to have a chance here at getting that podium position. Keto Sportman fighting with Alex Limorte for the final place here, but not quite fighting for any points, I should say. Maybe they will benefit from some guys dropping back from the penalties as Blue nearly has a look down the inside of Slash coming into turn 3, but he just pulls it back as he's now approaching the DRS straight, of course. And Smalley, he is dropping out of the DRS. He has dropped out of the DRS of Zach and El Piloto. Better tires. And also DRS open, trying to go for the move on the straight. Moves ahead, and he does make the move happen. Blue also gets past Slash. And Ice-T nearly had to look down the inside. But of course Ice-T has the penalty, so he would also need to gain 3 seconds on Slash, just like all the guys behind him. But now it is Ice-T nearly trying to go down the inside of Slash into turn 10. Just kept it back. Sure, you can see how many penalties everyone has. It's basically everyone got 3 seconds except for Game Freaker and P. Suarez. That's basically everyone here with the penalty sign. So everything basically equals out. So no one except for Game Freaker and P. Suarez will drop back a place depending on how far everyone is behind. And now El Piloto in the softs. He has to still try and get those 3 seconds in Smalley and all those guys, but he just needs to have a wonder happen to him. He can maybe get past Zach even for P2, but then everything is going to be tough for him as Slash now picks up a penalty. That's his first one as well. And if Bew picks up a penalty, this goes into a whole different dimension of looking at this race, because then El Piloto gets past Zach, because then everyone from P3, or no, not anymore P3 to P12 would have a penalty, and basically no one would gain a place by having penalties then, as Woodshot gets past Ice-T, who last lap he was trying to get past Slash, but this lap he did not get close enough, and Ice-T and Woodshot did see the opportunity to get past him, and now we have an even bigger battle going on here. Yes, this is a penalty fest all over the place. I mean, literally everyone except for 5 guys did get a penalty. Kart Racer in P1 did not get one. Zach in P3 did not get one. Bew in P5, incredible job by him. He did not get one, and he currently would still get into the podium positions because of Smalley and El Piloto having penalties. Then Kenshin would gain a massive amount of places because of that. Robin getting past Ice-T here, who's going side by side through turn 1 and 2. Who's going to come out ahead? A Ferrari overtaking a Mercedes or staying ahead of him. Haven't seen that in a while. Trying to stay close enough here. El Piloto as Alex Limorte also picking up a penalty. There goes another guy that didn't have a penalty before. Now it's only 4 guys remaining without a penalty. Bew, he's trying to get up into that 4th place, but as I mentioned, DRS trains are just too good, and El Piloto picks up another penalty, and that would again drop him down into P5, and that could even lead to Smalley getting a podium again now. Well, actually he wouldn't gain, but he would stay in P4. As Bew tries to make the move, Ice-T, not sure how, Mick tries to make the move on Witcher, but now he runs off the track and it will cost him maybe even more places. No, it won't cost him too much. As he tries to come back around the outside of Witcher now. Will he make that move work? He does make it work. Over the curb. And the Ferrari with one of the most incredible moves this week. For sure. After running wide in turn 11, he does the same in turn 12. But whilst overtaking VER Witchard in P8. And now looking at the top 5, as we still are in the battle for the win. No, I mean not for the win, but for the podium places. Alpilotor, 6 seconds. If everything goes wrong for him, he might even drop back to P6 behind TTG Slash, but we'll have to find out where he will end up after watching the full race here, of course. View in P5. On the softs, of course, he needs to get past Smalley at some point, because, I mean, he and Alpilotor have 3 laps left, as I think there was P. Suarez. It was P. Suarez who did drop down to last place. He spun coming out of turn 7. That's a weird place to spin at, but he did it, and he will have no coming back from that. But I mean, he wouldn't have gotten any points anyway, so unfortunate, but that's only a change in place number in the end. GS Smalley at the back of Zach. We have a real battle going on here for P2 on track, as it's Bew. The softs did not only go off, and he goes down to P13. He would have looked to go into podium position here, but he drops down to P13, and from going from a podium, he now goes down to P13, and he will most likely end up without points. And he goes into pits trying to get the fastest lap. As he retires from the pits, no, he will not even go for the fastest lap, as I mean, he wouldn't have gotten any points for that. But he will now just go into the pits. He retires the car. What an incredibly unlucky ending for Bew, who spun out in turn 11 by the looks of it. Not sure if anyone was involved, but I would guess that he just spun it by himself. As Barry also gets a penalty. That should be his third one, if I'm correct. But T1000 Zach on track, making the move up to P2. The Alpine driver finished in P5 last week, and now he is back up to P2, and it looks like Woodshot also to get a penalty. That should be his second one as well. So I've kind of much got a good chance of getting some places here again. As we're now heading down towards the final 2 laps, and Alpilotor looking as if he would maybe even drop down to P8 or lower if anything happens, as Kenshin gets overtaken and fighting with Mats for P11. Mats trying to go down the inside, little bit of a touch there, but Kenshin keeps it ahead of the Alfa Romeo driver. Ferrari against Alfa Romeo, also a battle that you don't see too often, as Mats loses out on the place, and Robin runs wide. Gets a 3-second time penalty for that, so he's another one. I think that could be his 9th second, as Game Freaker tries to go around the outside into turn 1, but also Robin on the outside of Witchard into turn 1. Runs wide, and it will be Witchard keeping the place, and Robin runs wide in turn 2 as he ran over the inside curb, and that is Game Freak up to P8. Ayub Khan now up to P9 as well. But Ayub Khan will gain all those places back because of 6 seconds of penalties for everyone. So that's a blessing in disguise for him. And Robin down to P11 as well. His tires just went. I don't know if he does have damage. It doesn't look like it. It's just everything gone from bad to worse. And Smalley now trying to overtake Pilotor. He will get him on penalties anyways, but he does get him here. Oh no, Alpilotor tries to stay on the inside. Now it will be going down to turn 10. Alpilotor looks like he has secured that place, but Ice-T Slash also side by side going into turn 11, and Smalley gets spun around. Keeps it on the track, and Ice-T is out of the race, also spun around. Ice-T down, out of the points. Game Freak and P7. What is going on here? These guys do not stop fighting like this. Game Freak and Witchshot side by side into turn Turn 13, Kenshin gets the penalty, and we only have the top 2 guys without a penalty as we enter the final lap of the race. El Pilotor gets overtaken by Slash, who now gets podium place on track. But still good tire management as Molly's still behind him. With Shot and Game Freak are now fighting for that 6th place. But both of them have 6 seconds of penalties, so Ayubkan will get them both. By the looks of it. Now, final lap. Kart Racer and Zack, unless one of them picks up a penalty. Yes, Ayubkan also with the second penalty, and Kenshin, the second Ferrari, has also spun around. So Ice-T, even though in the points, he will not get any points because he is a reserve. And Slash and El Piloto fighting again for that 3rd place here. El Piloto will not get it on penalties, but still fighting side by side with Slash, even though I think Slash might have picked up a second penalty. No, he does have 3 seconds, so El Piloto will not get it. But Small is still in the fight here, going side by side. El Piloto against Slash, Slash running off the track a little bit. And that gives room for Smalley to make the move down the inside, and he touches him and he spins around. GS Smalley spins around and he might even lose out to Game Freaker, but he does not right now, and Limorte crashes out. Alex Limorte is out of the race, crashing in turn 10. Slash now right behind El Pilotor, but that will not be enough for a move unless he just sends it down the inside, around the outside into the final corner. Switching back, but it will be Kart Racer 22 winning the 2nd race of the season. Zack and P2, El Piloto side by side finish with Slash. But Slash and Smalley get that place in P3 and 4 because of the penalties that El Piloto had. What an incredible few final laps of this race. Even there couldn't have been more drama going on at the end of this race. What a finish. And Kart Racer 22 in the end, as his PSR spins in the final corner. Kart Racer 22 somehow takes his 2nd win in 2 races in the season, back to back for the Haas driver. Congratulations to him, and not a shame, but unluckily the French driver for Alpine nearly could have won his home Grand Prix here at the circuit Paul Ricard. As you can see, it was so close. Zach nearly could have made it work, but we do see Kart Racer 22 winning this race for the Haas F1 team. What an incredible drive from him. T1000 Zach also not to forget. The only guys that kept the penalty free. But then TTG Slash in P3. GS Smalley, the reserve, back on the podium, back in P4, nearly made it on the podium, but just about did not. El Pilotor in P5. Ecos Mats in P6, Game Freak in P7, Ayub Khan in P8, Witchard in P9. Ice-T gets the final point. Actually, Ice-T does not get the final point of the race because he did not. He's a reserve, so he won't get any points for the team. And then also Keto in P12, Robin in P13, Barra in P14, Pizarro is in P15, and the non-finishes for Alex Limor debut, Juwan and Leonard. And holy cow, what a finish to this race. Couldn't have gone an more exciting finish to this race. And I mean, if after the first races, what an exciting season we've had so far, and it will not get worse next week as we're headed to the circuit des Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. And just like the real life race weekend, we will be in Spa. And what an amazing race. A lot of excitement. And yeah, we will be back next week in Belgium on Monday, the same day as today, same time. If you want to watch more F1 League racing on the PSGL channel, you can watch the PC tiers on Wednesday and Thursday, the top tier PSGL, PC, F1 with all the esports guys. You can also watch PSGL on Sundays and of course Mondays, where you have basically most of the PS tiers from F1 to F8. I'm Natalie Flo, and hope to see all of you guys back in a week time in Spa-Francorchamps. Thank you guys for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will be back next week.